If you guys enjoy what I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free and easy to do. Before we get started with today's video, I have an announcement to make. After years of telling other people's stories, I finally released one of my own. My novel Eternal Reign is available now in both ebook and paperback format for those of you who are like me and prefer to collect physical media. You can grab a copy right now on Amazon through the link in the description of this video. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. The war between the Jedi and the Sith hasn't gone all that well for the Jedi. Their temple on Coruscant got destroyed, killing a whole lot of them. The ones who survived moved to Tython to try and train the next generation of Jedi before the war picks up again. Lucky for them, a very strong Padawan has come to the planet to undergo her final trials and become a Jedi Knight. And that's where our story begins. When you first touch down on the planet, you're greeted by the Jedi Knight Darren Weller, who, like most of the other Jedi on the planet, have heard about you and your exceptional skills. The Council is planning on assigning you to a Jedi Master who will finish your training, which won't be as easy as you may think. The plan was to get you to the temple right away, but a call comes through that some of the local creatures called Flesh Raiders have attacked the Padawan training grounds, and they're armed with blasters, which is very out of the ordinary for the primitive creatures. The things are dangerous without advanced weapons, so throwing those into the mix makes the situation far worse. So Darren sends out a call to all of the nearby Jedi for help. Since you have more fighting experience than most of the other Padawans, he sends you out to help too while he tries to get in touch with the Council. After helping thin the herd of raiders, you get a call from Darren. He had joined in the fight and took a hit to the leg while trying to protect some people, so he's being shipped off to the temple for treatment. He had heard from another Padawan that the raiders are using a cave to enter the valley, so you head there to cut off their point of entry. When you make it to the cave, you see a Jedi named Caliph getting ready to kill a Padawan for the crime of being weak and holding back the Jedi Order. He doesn't sense that same weakness in you, probably because you killed a lot of his followers on your way there. According to the Padawan, Caliph is leading the Flesh Raiders, something he proves by calling two of them over to help him deal with you. They aren't nearly strong enough, and you finish them off only moments before a Jedi Master named Orgus Den shows up. Once you let him know what happened with the rogue Jedi, he says that regardless of what Caliph said, he wasn't a Jedi, at least not one that was trained by anyone Orgus knew. Him leading the Flesh Raiders in their attack proves something that Orgus had been trying to get the Council to understand for a while. The creatures that they thought were mindless monsters are much smarter and potentially more dangerous than they wanted to believe. While he didn't recognize Caliph, Orgus does see something familiar about his lightsaber, so he takes it to see if the Jedi Council can use it to figure out who the guy was. After he uses the Force to collapse the tunnel so no more Flesh Raiders can come through, he takes the injured Padawan to the medical center while he tells you to head to the Jedi Temple and tell the Council what happened. When you get to the temple, Satele Shan, the leader of the council and a descendant of Bastila Shan and Revan, who you definitely know if you play the Knights of the Old Republic game, tells you to come to meet with her before you talk to the full council. She and everyone else in the temple have already heard about what you did during the training grounds raid, and she wanted to make sure that killing the Jedi traitor hadn't affected you in any negative way. Once she's sure that it hasn't, she sends you on to the council chambers where they're already discussing the incident. Master Bayla Kiwix has gone through the archives to see if she could find anything on the rogue Jedi. And it turns out that the man you killed had never received formal Jedi training, which makes her apprentice Kira think that the Sith must have tracked you all down. Orgus isn't so sure of that, since if the Sith were involved, they would have probably done something a little more dangerous than sending some natives armed with a few blasters to take down the Jedi. The Masters have all been sensing something bad coming for a while, so it's possible that whatever's going on with the Flesh Raiders is a part of that. The Jedi had thought that they were just disorganized primitives, but the fact that they could be united and led to carry out an organized attack proves otherwise. Orgus is pretty sure that their leader wasn't acting alone, and since most of Tython is still unexplored, there are a lot of places where a lot of people could hide. The Jedi don't actually have the resources to explore them all, so Orgus decides to take you on as his Padawan and handle the hunt with you. Considering the fact that he hasn't taken an apprentice in years, this says a lot about the potential he sees in you, and just how hard he plans on pushing you. With the council meeting done, Orgus decides to get started on the mission immediately by sending you to talk to the Twi'lek pilgrims who have been fighting the Flesh Raiders for months. They had asked the Republic for help, but since they had moved to the planet without going through the proper channels, the Jedi were ordered not to help them, which means they probably won't be all that eager to talk to you, but that's something that you'll have to deal with because Orgus has something else to do before he can meet you in their camp. The Twi'lek matriarch and her daughter Rana aren't exactly surprised that the Jedi finally came to join in their fight, since they all know about the Raiders attacking them, but they aren't exactly in a position where they can turn down help since their fight isn't going well, and the matriarch is sick. Since the raiders got their new weapons, they've been picking the Twi'leks off. Some of the scouts have seen the cave where they store their weapons, but they don't have the manpower or tools to raid the place. Getting in won't be hard for a Force user though, and that'll let you steal the weapons for the Twi'leks to give them a fighting chance. That act will go a long way toward getting the pilgrims to trust you, so you do what any peace-loving Jedi would, and that's slaughter dozens of weaker creatures to complete your goal. When you get to the weapon storage facility, you find a recon droid that they stole, who just so happens to have seen the true leader of the raiders giving orders to the fake Jedi that you killed. He's wearing a robe so you can't see his face, but that video is more than a little useful, so you take the droid with you so you can show it to Orgus. After bringing the pilgrims the weapons, you show the droid to Orgus, who recognizes it as one of the 20 droids they had sent to gather information. It's the only one that survived, so it probably has a lot of useful information on it outside of what you saw. Orgus gets started on going through that, while you talk to Rana to see if her people are ready to help the Jedi since you helped them. According to their scouts, the Flesh Raiders have fully taken over the nearby mountains, and now they're invading the ruins of Calith. The place had once been a city of Force users, and the ruins hold power that even the Jedi don't understand. The Raiders are looking for something in the ruins, and since whatever they find will probably not be good for any of you, Orgus sends you to the ruins to stop them while he takes the droid to the council. Orgus recognizes the voice of the man in the video, and if it's who he thinks it is, then the situation is a lot worse than he thought. So you head off to handle the raiders while Orgus promises to send you some backup. In a quite unexpected twist, one of the Flesh Raiders can not only talk, but he can use the Force. He's not all that strong though, so you put him down before Master Kiwix and Kira show up. They were your backup, but you finished the job without them. Kiwix finds a very old holocron in the Flesh Raider's pocket, and since those contain the knowledge of ancient Jedi or Sith depending on the type, it's proof that the Flesh Raiders are a lot smarter than the Jedi thought, and they're using their intelligence to learn how to fight Jedi. She also figured that Orgus knows who's been helping teach the Raiders, but he didn't have time to tell her before he sent her off to help you, and she won't get the chance to help with the investigation anymore since SWTOR has given her a mission. The council thinks that all of the bad feelings they've been getting have something to do with the Republic's capital, so Kiwix and Kira are about to head to Coruscant. Before they head out, she gives you some monitors to put around the ruins. That way the people at the temple can watch the place and know if any more raiders come hunting for ancient Jedi relics. Once you handle that, you get a call from Orgus. He's headed back to the Twi'lek village and he wants you to meet him there. Kiwix told him about the Force using Flesh Raider before she left and how she thought he learned his techniques from the holocron, but that's not the case. The man in the recording that T7 had is Bingo Moore, and he had been Orgus's Padawan before the Jedi Temple got destroyed by the Sith. He had been inside, so they had thought he died like everyone else since he didn't really have a reason to sneak off. According to Orgus, Bingo was strong in the Force and a good person, so him going over to the dark side just didn't seem like something that would happen. Regardless, he needs to be dealt with. While the two of you are discussing what to do, Rana lets you know that her mother probably won't live for that much longer, so she'll be taking over the camp. Her people have found the Flesh Raiders' base of operations in the mountains, but it has an energy shield around it, so raiding it is out of the question. The shield generator is on a different mountain in a cave and it's very well guarded. While that makes things difficult, it does tell you what needs to be done. Taking down their base will likely put an end to all of the Flesh Raider attacks, so Orgus heads there while giving you the task of shutting down the shield so he can get inside. It's probably a job for more than one person, but apparently he has a lot of faith in his new Padawan's abilities, so you head off to prove to him that you can do the job. The Flesh Raiders who are guarding the shield generator are nowhere near strong enough to cause you any real trouble, so you manage the job without any problems. When you complete the task, Bingo Moore contacts you to make a few threats since you did kill his apprentice, but even though he seems unhinged, he hasn't gone over to the dark side. He thinks the Jedi Order has lost its way since they made peace with the Sith, and every Jedi on Tython needs to be wiped out if there's any hope of bringing in new blood that will be able to handle the Empire. Bingo not being a dark Jedi doesn't make him any less dangerous, so you head back to the Twi'lek camp to talk to Rana, and to see if Orgus has made any progress on his end. Orgus hasn't contacted her, but while you were gone, her mother died, and now she's in charge of the village. She doesn't have much time to mourn because someone comes running in screaming about how the Flesh Raiders have attacked the village and they've dropped some machines in their fields that's letting out a poison that none of them can get through. Jedi are much better equipped to deal with poison than normal people, so you go to clear out the machines and the invaders so the Twi'leks won't lose their food source. When that's done, Orgus calls you to let you know that he's dealt with the Flesh Raider base. You get the chance to tell him what his old apprentice said, and the fact that the man isn't a Sith makes Orgus feel like there may be a chance to get the man back on the right track instead of simply killing him. He found the location of other Raider bases while he was doing his thing, and he sent their location to the other Jedi Masters so they can start clearing them out, because there are a whole lot of them. Way too many for the two of you to handle alone. There's a camp in Upper Caled that he wants you to deal with, but if you run into Bingo Moore, he doesn't want you to fight him alone. It's highly unlikely that the fallen Jedi will wait for your backup to show up before he sticks a lightsaber through you, so you go there ready to deal with him just in case. The Flesh Raiders there are all Force users, and they managed to not only fatally injure a Jedi Knight, but they stole his lightsaber, which makes dealing with them even more complicated, but you take them down and retrieve the weapon. The moment you recover the lightsaber, Orgus calls to tell you that he got a call from the Twi'lek camp saying that they've seen Bingo Moore. Since all of the rest of the Jedi are off dealing with the other bases, you and Orgus are the only ones close enough to get to Moore, so you both head there. Orgus was closer, so he should have beaten you to the camp, but when you show up, not only is Orgus nowhere to be seen, but Rana claims that they never called him. T7 can't get in touch with him, which seems a bit odd, right up until someone shoots you with a sleeping dart and knocks you unconscious. The Twi'leks did see Moore, and they had decided to make a deal with him to catch Orgus off guard and capture him. Part of the deal was to also kill you, but Rana didn't feel right about that, so she stopped the others for long enough for you to wake back up. Since the Jedi had abandoned them to their fate when it came to dealing with the Flesh Raiders and only offered to help them when they needed something, having them agree to help Bingo Moore to save their own skin made sense. But they aren't stupid enough to try to fight you face to face, so they call off the attack. Before they leave, they tell you that Moore was taking Orgus to a place called the Forge, so you may have time to save him. It doesn't take T7 long to find out where the Forge is, so the two of you head there to save your master before Bingo Moore can finish him off. After fighting your way through a lot of his troops, you finally catch up to the fallen Jedi at the base of the place that was used to craft the lightsabers of New Jedi. He had been waiting for you so he could kill both you and Orgus at the same time. He really feels like he's doing the right thing for the Jedi, because he thinks something broke in them when the Sith destroyed their temple on Coruscant. That is the only way they could have possibly decided to make peace with the people who had slaughtered millions for nothing. He thinks he's strong enough to lead a new order of Jedi down the right path, but you prove him wrong by beating him. The fact that you're stronger than he is makes him think that you might be strong enough to heal the Jedi. But since the only thing that is really broken is his mind, you knock him out so you can take him in, after you wake up Orgus to see if he's okay. He's not hurt too badly, and he's happy to see that you managed to bring in his old apprentice alive. After everything you've done, he thinks that you've pretty much learned everything that he could possibly teach you, so he gives you the materials to make your own lightsaber, while he takes Bingo back to the Jedi Temple. Once you're done and you finish testing your new weapon on the monster that shows up when the Forge gets activated, you head back to the temple where the Council officially promotes you to the rank of Jedi Knight, while deciding on how they're going to change the way they deal with the Twi'leks to keep them from hating the Jedi in the future. While your training on Tython is over, your work definitely isn't. Master Kiwix calls from Coruscant with an urgent message. The darkness that they had all been sensing was coming from there, and she needs help to deal with it because it could threaten the entire Republic. Not wasting any time, you hop on a shuttle to Coruscant to get to work dealing with a much bigger problem than the last one. This concludes the Tython portion of the Jedi Knight storyline. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, comment, share it, and subscribe. Grab a copy of my novel on your way out, and I'll see you all next time.